Welcome to Operations and Supply Chain University. I'm Jerry Wright. I'll be taking you through Introduction to Lean Six Sigma White Belt. This is video section 3 of 5. We'll be talking about the 8 wastes using the acronym DOWNTIME. We'll also do an overview of the Lean Six Sigma toolbox. So first, let's start off. What is waste? When we talk about waste related to Lean Six Sigma, it's not garbage or trash. Waste is anything that doesn't provide value to either the customer or the organization providing the service or product. Author and Lean blog owner Mark Graben created this great graphic that sums up waste as an acronym very well. Waste is worthless activities that steal time and energy. Thank you, Mark. Great graphic. So the 8 types of waste, let's look at this. I've got this picture to describe, and I'm going to go through the 8 wastes and then talk about where you see all of them in this picture. This is actually where I used to work many years ago. So the first waste is defects, errors, not right the first time, incomplete, unclear, wrong information. This is an obvious one. Most people can identify this immediately. Here's one that's very problematic, and people don't see it right away. Overproduction. If I make too much ahead of or in excess of demand, I create all the other wastes. Waiting is another one we don't think about as waste. We stay busy, we're being paid for our time, but the challenge is if I'm not working on the most important thing, I'm working on something that's less important, and I'm usually doing that because I'm waiting on approval, I'm waiting on materials, I'm waiting for an answer, and this is not a good thing. We want to try to avoid waiting. Non-utilized talent is the 8th waste. I know it shows up in the middle of downtime, but this one was added to the original 7 wastes that were discussed in Lean by Toyota for many years. Non-utilized talent is when an employee might have a great idea or some knowledge that they want to implement, and they're limited. They can't get it done. So technically, that's a waste. Think of a mind or an idea as a terrible thing to waste. Now, transportation, this is unnecessary movement of product. The only type of transportation that a customer typically wants to pay for is shipping it to them. The next waste is inventory. While inventory is technically an asset on a balance sheet for a company, if you have too much and it takes up too much space or it can expire, then it could be a liability and it's really a problem. This almost last one, motion. Movement of people, poor ergonomics. So people walking and moving around when they're not doing something that's valuable for the customer is all waste. And then finally, the last one, extra processing, doing more than what the customer requires. So the example I like to share is if you look at a box that's coming from, let's say, Amazon, it typically only has 2 pieces of tape, one on the top and one on the bottom. It's fairly expensive tape, but there's only 2 pieces. Why aren't there 6 or 7 or 8 pieces? Because Amazon has recognized that that is extra processing. Tape's expensive. The time to tape takes, a fair amount of money. So why are we doing anything more than 1 piece on the top and 1 piece on the bottom? So think of in those terms of extra processing, doing more than what the customer expects and is not needed. Now let's go back to the picture here. This is WIP. Work in progress is usually what WIP means. This is waste in process. As I like to say, WIP is waste in process. In this particular picture, if you look, you can see a desk and a chair on the lower left. That's where the temporary employees we hired to keep track of all the bins and boxes you see in the photo on first and second shift. And the sad thing was if they couldn't find it, they just build another one. We had so much work in process, we were drowning in it. Now, the good news is we had a senior vice president of operations who was a lean thinker and a lean person, and we had a VP of manufacturing who said, hey, we're going to change this. We're not going to do this crazy batch production. We're going to lean things out. Now, we got rid of all the yellow and blue totes, and we went to what really is considered small lot or 1-piece flow. In this case, when you see in the photo here, we were doing batches of 50 to 100 of everything, and it just took forever to move stuff through the facility. It took us nearly 3 or 4 months, if I recall correctly, to get all these bins emptied and moved through. We worked a lot of weekends and a lot of overtime to get us to a future state, which was much leaner. So again, I laugh because you can see a fellow in the bottom center. He's smiling as my coworker, Don, and he said, "Gosh, I'm so happy. I just got a job somewhere else." All right. All work that we do is either value adding, VA, or non-value adding, NVA. Now, value adding means it's important to the external customer. They're willing to pay for it, or it's a condition of doing business with them. Non-value adding is everything else, things that still consume time, resources, or space, but they don't transform or add to the customer's desire to perceive value of a product or service. There's both necessary and unnecessary non-value added. Think of necessary non-value added would be a policy or a law or a legal requirement, maybe the FAA or the FDA or the FCC says you must do this and there's no benefit to the customer, but you have to do it because it's a legal requirement. That would be an example of necessary non-value added. Most everything is unnecessary non-value added. So here's a quick quiz for you. This is just an online quiz. We do all these different things in a business each day. We look for information, we get approvals, we build or create the product or service, we package it, we copy forms, we fill out forms, we do requoting, order supplies, write procedures, ship product, do training, input data, and even do warranty claims. But not all of these are value added. Which ones do you think are value added? Take just a second and think about them. Here's the ones that I think are value added: building or creating the product or service, packaging that product to protect it during shipment, and shipping it to the customer. Those are all things the customer will pay for. Now, some people say, well, wait a minute, isn't training value added? Well, most people who are interacting with the company assume that people at the company are trained. So there's no advantage doing excessive training if it doesn't benefit the customer. And the other one people say is, what about warranty claims? I'll pay for a warranty on a product that's expensive. Well, a warranty could be something you pay for, but it's not something you want to have to execute. So think of it this way. You just bought a brand new car, you got the extended warranty. You don't say, oh boy, can I go use the extended warranty and fix something that breaks? We don't want that. We really want to try to have the warranty as an insurance policy in case something bad happens. And we will pay for it, but it's not really value added in the sense that we'd love to take our car home with us and not have problems till its next service and really, minimize those issues. Now, here's another thing. Time is money. Since people at work are paid for their time, everything takes time to do. Time is essentially, or really is, money. Now, searching for things, waiting for approvals, walking an item or a form somewhere to give to someone, technically it's waste. Now, we're paid to do what is essentially wasteful work at our companies. We want to try to minimize anything we do that is not creating value, such as building the product, providing the service, packaging the product, or shipping it. We want to try to reduce all those different wastes anywhere that we can. Let's look at the Lean Six Sigma Toolbox. Here are the common Lean tools. The 8 ways that we just discussed, A3 thinking, 5S, 6S, or I like to use 7S, which is visual management and controls, workplace organization. There's Kaizen, remember that means continuous improvement. There's also a Kaizen Blitz, which is like a rapid improvement event. Cellular production, one-piece flow or one-item flow, very important in the Lean toolbox. Value stream mapping and process mapping. Kanban or pull systems and just-in-time inventory is a key thing to learn. Setup reduction or SMED, single minute exchange of die. Standard work, or what's the way we all agree to do the work. Poka-yoke or mistake proofing. Poka-yoke, another Japanese term, means basically error or mistake proofing. Theory of constraints or TOC. Total productive maintenance or TPM. Strategy deployment, benchmarking, and then of course, leading continuous improvement and coaching. Those are the common Lean tools. Now here are the common Six Sigma tools. Sigma level, variation and DMAIC, SIPOC, affinity diagrams, root cause problem solving, the 5 whys, as well as fishbone diagrams, VOC or voice of the customer, critical to quality tree or Kano analysis, descriptive statistics, qualitative and quantitative data, measures of central tendency, so standard deviation, mean, mode, range, etc., process capability, very important tool, measurement system analysis, or MSA and gauge R&R, very important tools. Pareto analysis, Pareto diagrams, good way to analyze data. Control charts, time series charts like X bar R charts. Doing decision analysis, failure modes, effects analysis, inferential statistics, of course, p-values, hypothesis testing, analysis of variance or ANOVA, chi-squared, t-tests, and f-tests to see if our data holds up to the tests that we need to assume. And then finally, design of experiments or DOE. Those are the key common Six Sigma tools. All right, thank you. And I look forward to seeing you in the next video series.